Bloemfontein. Police spokesperson Atlenda Mate.
When police announced their arrival, he shot at police and they returned fire, fatally wounding him. We are still searching for his accomplices and we are urging them to surrender at their nearest police station.
Meanwhile, mourners gathered at Hamilton Hall in Bloemfontein last night to honour Mongale's life. Her family hopes that all those involved in the murder will be brought to justice. Mongezi Koko reports.
The Mongale family's grief has been compounded by the gruesome details of how Olarato died, making it harder to let go and even harder to heal. And while moments of laughter punctuated her memorial, as friends and colleagues shared fond memories through tears, a heavy cloud of unanswered questions remained. One of the speakers, Don Nkwenyane, believes her death may be linked to human trafficking.
I think there is an element of human trafficking involved in this incident. I cannot believe men leaving Durban, driving all the way to Johannesburg to kill Rato for sweet nothing.
For her family, grieving feels impossible until the full truth comes out. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News, Bloemfontein.
Some opposition parties in the Ekurhuleni City Council have applauded the Metro for its decision to insource municipal workers. Finance MMC Jongizizwe Dlabati announced during his budget speech yesterday that essential workers will be given permanent contracts. About 700 cleaners who've been employed through external contractors will now enjoy the benefits of being directly hired by the Metro. Alfara Mushwana reports.
The city of Ekurhuleni's long-term plan is to implement what it calls the 70-30 plan for service delivery, in which 70% of services are rendered in-house with the remaining 30% outsourced. To achieve this, the city has increased its employees' budget from 11.7 billion rand to 13.4 billion rand, which will go towards paying salaries for workers who will be insourced. Action SA caucus leader Philip Dolo says essential workers in Ekurhuleni will finally have peace of mind.
These individuals have long been overlooked despite their crucial contributions to our city's cleanness, safety and health. Insourcing recognizes their value and addresses past injustice such as the poor working conditions due to outsourced contracts.
Insourcing of workers will, however, only come into effect if Dlabati's budget is adopted in council. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
Deputy President Paul Mashatile says he has no hidden financial and private interest and has declared everything to Parliament. Mashatile has or was again forced to address claims of corruption and media reports, dismissing them as merely allegations. He also says he's more than willing to subject himself to Parliament's Ethics Committee, saying it's already questioned him about allegations of nepotism and failing to declare certain multi-million rand properties linked to him. Mashatile was responding to oral questions in the National Council of Provinces yesterday. Babalo Ndenza was there.
Paul Mashatile was previously questioned about corruption allegations when he appeared in the National Assembly recently, where he said only the truth will prevail. Yesterday, Mashatile said he's gone as far as appointing an official in his office to ensure that all his interests are regularly updated and declared to Parliament. Mashatile said he's been a member of Parliament for years and has always declared his personal interests, including his residence and his bank balance.
I've disclosed where I live. I haven't told them how much I have in my bank account.
He also reiterated his willingness to cooperate with any law enforcement agency.
But let me assure you, Honourable Member in the House, that I will continue to subject myself to the relevant institutions.
Mashatile says while the information is available for members, some of it is confidential. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And Cabinet has approved the introduction of a new bill that seeks to limit the number of foreign nationals that can be employed in South Africa. At the same time, it's also approved the National Labour Migration Policy White Paper, and it introduces quotas of the total number of documented foreign nationals that can be employed in major sectors such as agriculture, hospitality, tourism and construction. Providing an update on Cabinet's decision to Parliament yesterday, Minister in the Presidency Khumbudzo Ntshavheni said that the policy is aimed at achieving balance across the sectors, including addressing South Africa's or South Africans' expectations for job prospects.
The policy complements other interventions such as the enforcement of a list of sectors where foreign nationals cannot be allocated business visas and amendments to the National Small Enterprise Act of 1996, which limit foreign nationals establishing small, medium and micro enterprises and trading in some sectors of the economy.
Gold is trading at $3,395.17 an ounce. The rand is at 17.83 to the dollar, 24.03 to the pound, 20.24 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $63.84 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North between Marlborough Drive and the Berkeley interchange. There's also some delays reported along the N3 North towards the Kilulis interchange. While traveling on the M1 South, be on the lookout for some delays as you approach Harton Drive due to an earlier accident.
A fine Friday in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: a search has been intensified for two people linked to Olerato Mongale's murder after the alleged key suspect in the case was killed during a shootout with police.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. This July, you won't just take a step, you'll take a stand. The 702 Walk the Talk is hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. Get your tickets today on primemediaplus.com.
702
Live
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
You're on 702. It's 7 after 9. Welcome to it. Good morning to you. I hope you're well, and I hope your Friday is going according to plan. I'm sure there's a lot that you've planned for the day, and it could be that you just want to take it easy. Nothing much, but I know many of you are on your way to work, at home, and wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining us. It means the world to us that you've made time to tune in, and I hope that you'll contribute accordingly. Welcome. My name is Thabo Shole Mashao. I'm in for Clement, and this is 702. The open line kicks off right away. On a Friday, Clement usually has a beautiful feature called Gratitude Friday, wherein everyone calls in to just have a chat about what is it that they are grateful for. Things may not always be rosy, but there may be just one or two things that are going well in your life, and you just want to express some bit of gratitude, and you just want to tell the whole world that, hey, I've got a girlfriend, I've got a boyfriend, I graduated, I finished that book, that manuscript that I've been postponing for years and years and years. It's finally done. It's done and dusted. It could be that you achieved something over the past few days. It always helps to also look into the politics of life other than the politics of governance. It helps to just reflect and say, well, things may not necessarily be that bad. There are one or two things that are going well, and let me acknowledge them. So Clement has got that feature, and I want us to touch on that today. I am happy to take your calls, your voice notes about your Gratitude Friday. It may seem mundane. It may seem like, no. It's such a small thing to share with the world. But it could be something to someone who's listening as well and thinking, wow, the same thing happened to me as well, right? So Gratitude Friday opened. Feel free to shout and share your thoughts with us about that and other things as well here on 702. President Cyril Ramaphosa mentioned that he will institute a commission of inquiry into the delays that took place as far as prosecution of TRC cases were concerned. Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I know we've got plenty of acronyms every now and then. We must ventilate them and not take it for granted that everyone knows what they stand for. You remember the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in 1995? It was an expensive exercise presided over by the late Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu. And you'd remember Dr. Alex Borain was also there, and many other great South Africans who were ushering the process of healing and hopefully justice in a South Africa that was divided, and hoping that in a democracy that we are now in, we would have dealt with those bad practices of the past that were propelled by the harsh legislation of apartheid. So a lot of money was spent, about 170 million rands and more at the time. we had various delays in prosecuting those who did not qualify for amnesty. A number of people claimed in those hearings, if you'd remember, that they killed activists because they were just doing their jobs. Gruesome deeds came out of those hearings. People broke down and cried. You saw men and women breaking down emotionally, and journalists, including the presiding officers, could not stand to hear the sordid testimonies that were presented at the TRC. I remember at some point there was a gentleman who testified that after the Flag Plus squad had beaten up black activists who were fighting the apartheid government at the time, they would kill them brutally and they would then burn them. And in some instances, they'd burn them alive as though they were just being roasted. They were just a ship on a spit braai, and they would sit there, those policemen, they would sit there, drink their beers, tell their jokes as human flesh was burning. Those are the things that came out. Many of those people were not prosecuted. Many of those people have not appeared before a court of law, not only to justify themselves, but to share with the world the truth about what happened. And perhaps the main aim is to give the victims a bit of closure, to know what happened to your child who never came home, whom you've never seen since 1987. He went out going to the shops and he was grabbed by cops. Up until now, you don't know what happened to them. The intention was for many of those people to give closure to those families, to say, by the way, this is what we did to your son, and this is where or your daughter, and this is where we buried your son. Those people are not prosecuted. Today, we are also vocal about justice. We all know the meaning of accountability and justice today when it comes to the Zondo Commission. But when it affects the TRC, let bygones be bygones, right? Let it go. It doesn't matter. I mean, the people who killed Steve Biko, the terrible death of Biko, dying alone in that cell, tied to a steel and chained and being beaten willy-nilly by those men who changed shifts on beating a chained man. Chained, he couldn't even fight for himself or cover himself. And then, Kruger, when he was asked about Steve Biko's death, jokingly and facetiously says, his death leaves me cold. The family of Biko, what are they supposed to do? They must just let it go? That they're dead. The sons of Steve Biko, they must just say, oh, well, that's what happened to our dead. Bygones, let it go. We don't want to hear anymore. Those guys shouldn't be held accountable. But let's hold other people accountable, right? Except those people. It can be. Mama Ntsiki Biko, as she was frail at the time, being harassed herself. And she's one of thousands of many other widows who experienced this cruelty at the hands of apartheid. They want closure. They want closure. President Mbeki's son, no one knows what happened to his son up to now. And the man was the president. I mean, with all that power, no one knows what happened. Mbuyiseni, the gentleman, the boy who carried Hector Peterson, we're still arguing about whether he's still alive or not today because no one knows. Excuse me. No one knows what happened to him. There are many countless other stories. It could be that you also know of your neighbor who did not get justice for those things. And we must just move on, right? Let's just move on. It doesn't matter. The past is the past. Let's move on. How long are we going to complain about that? So the commission will be set up to look into the delays of the commission, of prosecuting the cases of a commission. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you about those matters. Do we need a commission? Or should the NPA be given a little bit of capacity to fast track the prosecutions? Why do we need to sit and listen to why the delays took place. It was Thabo, it was this person, it was this person, it was this person. Why do we need to spend millions and millions to compile a report that would be 10,000 pages long, wasting taxpayers' money? And then once we find out that Abel was responsible for the delays, nothing happens to Abel anyway. And that doesn't bring justice to those people who endured so much pain. Why do we need that? And some people would say, yeah, we need to, so that we hold those people accountable. Can we not spend those resources in fighting for justice? In fighting for justice for those individuals, so that prosecutions can at least be fast-tracked? I would love to hear from you about those matters. Of course, Gratitude Friday is also on. As I always preach like a broken record, anything else that's on your mind is most welcome. Raise any issue with me because it's an open line. There are many matters that media doesn't cover, and this is your opportunity to raise them. It's your opportunity to raise them. To say, Thabo, by the way, in Klerksdorp, in Matlosane, you don't know what the municipality is up to. They do not even collect waste. They don't collect, they don't look after the streets. They do not even come by to clean up the streets. You could raise any other issue. It's an open line. So I urge you to do that. And you know how I prefer we do it, right? Direct and without any political correctness and blunt. And let's shoot from the hip. I'm happy to do that, because I think we sugarcoat a number of things. And it's an opportunity just to speak from the heart. The open line is on 011-883-0702. Between 10 and 11, we will then look into our usual feature across the desk. And we are analyzing 1 year after the elections. You'd remember that this year, the votes had just taken place and we were watching the leaderboard. And many of us were surprised by the numbers that reflected next to a fairly new party, Mkhonto Wesizwe Party. We were all thinking, what is going on? Yep, and they managed to get just under 15% of the votes. And it is their belief that they were cheated. They could have gotten more. That's what they said. But we were all shocked. I didn't see it coming. I have to confess. I didn't. But we'll do a post-mortem of that a little bit later on with Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast and Sandile Swana, who's governance expert. And feel free to join us for that discussion. 11 and 12, what are we talking about? It's relationship focus, and we are looking at your emotional connection with your friend or someone else outside your intimate relationship, marriage, or otherwise. So you have a girlfriend, you've got a boyfriend, you're married, you've got a husband, or you've got a partner, you've got a wife, yet you are so emotionally closely connected to your colleague at work, of the opposite sex or of the same sex. And that connection may compromise your marriage because you share so much with this person, more than you do with your partner at home. You even speak about your partner in unfavorable terms. You share everything with this person emotionally, yet you don't have the same connection with your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or anyone else. Isn't that a threat to your relationship? How do you draw boundaries to make sure that, man, I've gone too far, guys? Hi, man. Me and Martha at work, this is too much. Martha knows everything, knows about my kids, knows about how my wife irritated me last night. And isn't that a threat to your existing intimate relationship? 011-883-0702. Alternatively, send us a voice note to 072-702-1702. I would love to hear from you. Let's get going.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Diane, you've been holding for quite some time. Thanks very much for sticking around. Welcome to 702. Good morning to you, Diane.
Good morning, Thabo Masha. I wanted to just say I'm very grateful for my friends. I live in Kensington, Johannesburg. We've been without water for 2 weeks now, and we're going into the big shutdown, and we still don't have water.
Oh, no.
And they've all been bringing me bottles of water, so I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, no, that's so wonderful. But tell me about your problem that side. It's in Kensington, right?
Yes, Kensington, Bays Valley, Bertram's, Bruma, Cyril Dean and Observatory. We're all sitting without water.
Oh, no. I know that area very well. I think JP's Boys is close to one of those areas there going towards
Yes,
Eastgate.
my son went to JP Boys.
Oh, my goodness me. And you said how long it's been without water?
2 weeks.
Oh, my goodness.
2 weeks.
What are the authorities saying, if you don't mind me asking, Diane? What do they say when you call them? What's the
They're
problem?
not. Whenever we phone them, they just say, no, they're sorting out the problem and the reservoirs are empty. They're actually not giving us feedback.
And it's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks.
Goodness
and
me.
Even our ward councillor 2 days ago spoke to the MMC, and he just put out that the pipe repairs and the water should be coming today, so
No.
we still don't have water since he spoke to the MMC.
Diane, let me just urge, whilst you're still on the line, urge Joburg Water or any of the Joburg authorities to come on and tell us what the problem is and when is it going to be sorted out. Water is very, very essential. It's not like electricity. And it's not
No.
fair to do a comparison between the two. But, I mean, water is an essential service, and it affects a whole lot of other things. Your health, to start off with. And it becomes expensive to
but
buy.
there's also
Yeah. Sorry,
a lot
Diane?
of old age homes in Bertram's, and they're also battling. And we hardly get water tankers. If we get water tankers once a week, we're lucky.
No way, no way. Our Joburg Water, let us know what's going on in Kensington and those areas. Bertram's, Bays Valley, what's going on? Let us know, please. Diane, thanks for bringing it to our attention.
you.
Thank you, really appreciate it. Moshere is in Pretoria West. Good morning, Moshere.
Morning, Tabo. How are you?
I'm free. How are you, bro?
All right, man. Tabo, man, I'm grateful. On the 8th of this month, I've celebrated my 50th birthday. Of it, for me, it's a milestone. I'm really glad to have reached it. Then also, next week Sunday, I'll also be participating in my 4th Comrade Marathon. Of course, also that I'm grateful for that.
Oh,
because
my
a number
goodness.
of people at my age, they are not being given, they don't have this opportunity to still can manage to run such a distance.
Listen to that.
For me.
You high achiever,
for
you.
me, that's why I'm saying I'm grateful, and I thank the big man from above for really giving me this opportunity to can participate. Because of course I started running at the late age, 43. That's when I started running. But I'm thankful for the opportunity to can really hit the road and participate.
Listen,
and
Moshere.
test my ability.
Yeah, firstly, let me say congratulations. You're on the 50th floor. It's amazing. Well done. Well done to you for that. And I'm glad that you're grateful for that. Not many get to be where you are. But for your comrades, your 4th comrades, that's a huge feat, bro. It's big.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I'm grateful for the number of people want to, but they can't. For me, that's why I'm saying I'm grateful, and
you go,
thank the big man.
Before you go, I just want to tell you what we are grateful for. We are grateful for you here on 702, for being loyal to us, for calling in, for raising your views sharply, for holding people to account, especially our leaders. We may disagree on views, but we are definitely grateful for you, Moshere. And please don't take that lightly. And thank you so much, and all the best on your wonderful stuff.
Much appreciated. Of course, also I just want to also thank you for giving me the opportunity. Even sometimes if we disagree, but you're still giving me the opportunity to air my opinion.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Thank you, sir. Moshere in Pretoria West. 25 minutes after 9 o'clock, you are on 702, and keep those calls coming through on 011-883-0702.
Hey, morning, Tabo. Open for Sloras here. Tabo, we are free, we are not free. Tabo, let's move on. Why am I saying so? It's according to the government of the day, which is the African National Congress. First of all, let us not even go far. The Chris Hani, this Janusz Walush, the Ramaphosas are in government. So don't blame Walush or Clive David Lewis. the government of the day is allowing this to go on. Even Ramaphosa now is establishing this commission because it's being taken to court by the families to say, we want to know what happened. So let us stop blaming what happened. The government of the day is the one that promotes that injustice from keep on going on. So let's move on. And we mustn't dare say it's the whites and what is the government of the day under the African National Congress that allowed this thing to go on. Let us move on, Thabo, according to the government of the African National Congress. Thank you.
Look, I've noticed and I've been saying in South Africa, we just like wasting money. And this commission, new commission on top of another commission, is a classical example of that. But also, not only about money that is being wasted, it's time, it's resources in general, it's everything. How can you form or establish a commission on top of another commission? What happened to those recommendations that were just supposed to be implemented? Those who didn't implement, why can't they be held accountable? Joseph Rosley.
Good day, Pratabo. Good day, 702 Landers. Abraham in Florida. Pratabo, I think the president needs to be stopped with these commissions. They are fruitless and they don't actually add any value. If we think about it, there was a Marikana Commission, there was Zondo Commission, so many commissions were established, right? But we can't even point to one thing that actually came out of the commissions. So to this effect, I think that had he had an executive that he reports to or people who oversee his roles as president, I think that would be much better so that we can hold him accountable for certain things that he has done in his role as president. Because as things stand, he doesn't report to anyone. So which is he only reports to parliament, which can take years and can drag for years because most of the things are very confidential in the office of the president. So yeah, I think it would help.
011-883-0702, 28 minutes after 9 o'clock is an open line right now. Feel free to jump in and raise whatever is on your mind. Joseph, you were holding and you just came back. Welcome. You're calling from Roslyn. Hi.
Good morning, Thabo. And how are you?
I'm free, sir. How are you? Thanks for holding.
Thank you for taking my call. Thabo, I would like to talk about something we don't do enough or we don't talk about every day, about men and women in blue. But specifically in this case, the KZN one. Thabo, I'm not sure if you have noticed that, they are so effective and efficient. I'm talking about men and women in blue in KZN as compared to other areas or other provinces. Cases take time before they even get hold of the suspect. I'm wondering, what is it that they are doing right that other provinces can't do right? Because of, there are so many cases that even you don't know where they ended up. They are reported. The suspect will never be apprehended. And I'm not going to talk about the killing in this case.
Yes.
But the fact that they were able to trace and track, the whereabouts of the criminals within short space of time. Thabo, this case was reported in the public domain on Monday. Hardly 7 days they were caught. Yes, we know the end result what happened, but the fact that they were able to be found, Thabo, I think it's something that was commended for the police in KZN, and I think it's a challenge to other provinces that they must learn from their peers. Maybe a boss better be held so that this police from other provinces they can find out from the KZN what is it that they are doing right that other provinces cannot do.
Yeah, no, you're raising a very important issue, notwithstanding that they still have a serious problem, right, in KZN with the murder rate that side, especially areas such as Kwamashu. But I hear the point that you're making, and it would help if there is some cross-pollination of policing information and strategies amongst all provinces. Perhaps there is, we don't know, but your point is not lost nonetheless. It's exactly 9:30. With that, we welcome Sfiso Zulu on the show to give us the very latest on eyewitness news headlines. Good morning, Sfiso.
Thanks, Thabo. Good morning. EWN has learnt that the main suspect in the Olerato Mongales murder case was in possession of identity documents and numerous cell phones. Police killed him during a shootout this morning at an apartment where he was allegedly hiding in Amanzimtoti. A vehicle he used in the crime in Johannesburg was found with blood stains at a panel beating workshop in Durban this week. Some opposition parties in the Ekurhuleni City Council have applauded the Metro for its decision to insource municipal workers. Finance MMC Jongizizwe Dlabati announced during his budget speech yesterday that essential workers will be given permanent contracts. About 700 cleaners who've been employed through external contractors will now enjoy the benefits of being directly hired by the Metro. And City Power has cut off electricity supply to the River Park community in Alexandra. The power utility says the move follows clashes with residents during a meter audit and disconnection operation in the area. Earlier this week, residents marched to City Power's offices in Bramley, claiming the electricity was unfairly cut and without any consultation. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
Traffic.
Well, at this stage, things have settled down pretty nicely. Traffic is looking good. No serious accidents have been reported in Joburg. At this stage, just look out for faulty traffic lights set in the Randburg area at Mahogany and Malibongo Drive. There's also faulty traffic lights in Rand Park Ridge, Beyersno, Deer and the N1. Also look out for those traffic lights not working in the city of Tshwane at Groenkloof, at Christina de Wit and Euphrates. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Feel the thunder. South Africa, the countdown is on. Saturday, 5th July, the Thunder of Hooves returns to Hollywood Bets Greyville Racecourse for the 129th running of the Hollywood Bets Durban July. Feel the pulse pounding horse racing action as the continent's top thoroughbreds race for glory. A vibrant celebration of culture, champions, and the pursuit of greatness. Who will take the title? Tickets are galloping away. Grab yours now at Ticket Pro. The Hollywood Bets Durban July, Africa's greatest horse racing and social event.
9 stores, 11 days, endless DIY adventure. The famous Chamberlain Carnival is here as we offer hundreds of out-of-this-world deals. Join us from 22 May to 1st June as we turn every aisle into a galaxy of deals. Shop in store and stand a chance to win your share of 90,000 Rand in prizes. Get 20% of paint mixing and savings on everything from lighting to lawnmowers. Enjoy free popcorn, candy floss, and the sounds of the Mac Chamberlain Highlanders Pipe Band. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
You know, ever since I adopted positive energy-saving behaviors, the National Grid is thanking me. You should also adopt this lifestyle and your pocket will thank you too. Simply switch off non-essential appliances and lights when they're not in use. Reduce your geyser temperature to 60 degrees Celsius. Replace inefficient lights with LED lights. These are some of the ways you can use electricity wisely to help sustain our energy grid and contribute to a greener planet. Just like every Rand counts, every kilowatt counts. Let's use electricity wisely. Eskom.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
011-883-0702. My name is Thabo Shole Mashao. I'm in for Clement. We have been touching on all possible issues that would be on your mind right now. Yes, we've touched on Gratitude Friday, and that's a regular feature. You'd know about it when Clement is here. You mentioned what is it that you are grateful for. Feel free to do the same today. I mentioned the issue of the commission that the president has instituted to look into the delays that have affected prosecutions into TRC cases. Why do we need another commission to look into that? Can we not find a mechanism with which these issues can be accelerated, fast-tracked, for victims to get some sort of justice? That is all. Why do we need another commission, another report? another press conference where the report is being delivered and handed over to the president, shaking hands, the media is there, lunch is held, and all sorts of stuff. Why can we not get our hands dirty behind the scenes and start working and really do the work that needs to be done? We had a call earlier on about Kensington, the water problem in Kensington, as I urged you to tell us what's happening in your corner of the world, whether you are in Palm Springs, Mogale City, Soweto, Tembisa, Katlehong, wherever you may be, Sandton, I don't know, wherever you may be, feel free to let us know what's happening. Dexter, you are in Kensington too. Morning to you.
Yes, good morning to you.
Morning, Minister. What's on your mind?
Hey, we have a problem with electricity and water in Kensington. It's South Kensington. We haven't had electricity since Sunday, and we haven't had water since last Friday. And this is persisting. It's affecting our businesses badly. We can't you can't even write out the invoices, send out its month end. We have no income that we receive. And there's no communication from the city as to what is happening. And just give us an idea what is going on. We're desperate.
Yeah, Dexter, I can just imagine the level of desperation without water, especially when there are children, when there are babies, and those who are aged as well. Just generally, everyone needs water to survive. The bathrooms, taking a shower, and all of those, it must be a mess. I find it very difficult when we don't have water for just a day or two. I go berserk. I just don't understand it. I don't know how you've been handling it for 2 weeks, but let's hear what others have to say. Thanks for bringing it up, the Dexter in Kensington. We'll try to push Dexter for answers. Let's try to get answers from the city of Joburg and the authorities. When is Kensington getting the supply of water? 23 minutes to 10 o'clock. 011-883-0702 and your voice notes on 072-702-1702. For now, we're going to Katie in Marshalltown. Katie, hi.
Morning, Thabo. Hope you're well this morning. We are having exactly the same problem in the Johannesburg CBD, the Marshalltown Sarira Store area. For 3 weeks, we've been battling with water on, off, on, off, on, off. But last week, Saturday, the water went out, and to date, we do not have water. It's for the last 2 mornings, it's been coming from 5 in the morning to 7 in the morning, and then that's it. And then we don't have water the whole day. You phone the call center, every agent, every supervisor you speak to has got a different story for you. I have the numbers of a few people that work at Joburg Water who hold positions. They can't tell us what's going on.
Katie, help me out quickly.
A serious problem.
Yeah, help me out quickly with some little bit of information. You said this is in Marshalltown. How long has this been going on for?
So this has been going on for the last 3 weeks.
Okay.
But the 3 weeks, up until last week Saturday, it was on and off the water.
Okay,
so
you said from what time to what time?
No water.
Yeah, we said and I'm asking this information because I know the producers are fighting very hard behind the scenes to get you answers so that if we are able to get someone on, we can just pose these questions that are very pointed and not generic. Water comes on from what time to what time in Marshalltown?
So for the last 2 mornings, so Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, and this morning, we've been having water since 5 to 7 in the morning.
5 to 7.
And that's it. Yes.
So 5 o'clock in the morning to 7 in the morning, 2 hours.
7 in the morning,
And then it disappears for...
And it disappears for the whole day.
Okay.
And then that's it goes,
All right.
So
thanks.
we really need answers from the Johannesburg Water Department because this is not on. It's really not on.
We'll try to do that. We'll try to get you answers. I know producers are working to get you answers. But thanks for bringing it up, Katie. Katie is in Marshalltown. And Katie is saying the very same thing is happening in Marshalltown. Please share with us where these things are taking place. Do not die in silence. Do not be brutalized in a corner where you can't say anything and you don't know where to go and you become despondent. Raise those issues with us. 011-883-0702, 072-702-1702.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Still straight to your calls. They're coming through thick and fast. Mr. Nchaveni Mukwebo is the MD of Joburg Water and is joining us right now. I suspect it's on the backdrop of the calls that you have been putting through. Mr. Mukwebo, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702.
Good morning, and thank you very much, and good morning to the listeners as well.
Without diluting it, what's your reaction? You've heard about Kensington, and we've also heard from the previous caller about Marshalltown.
Maybe let me start with Kensington, and then I'll then be able to talk to the issue of Marshalltown.
Yes, sir.
Indeed, in the Kensington area, we've been having challenges, and Kensington, including Malvern and other surrounding areas, is supplied from our reservoir, which is called Alexander Park Reservoir. So in the past 2 weeks or so, that reservoir, we have been struggling to get it to the sufficient level that it can be able to supply the entire zone. So it doesn't necessarily mean that there's no water coming in. There's water is coming in, but of course, in order for it to supply the high-lying area, which includes Kensington, it needs to be at a certain level, and we struggle to get it to that level. So what we end up with is a situation whereby the water that we have or that comes into that reservoir end up supplying the low-lying area like Malvern and so on. The reason for that, why we've been struggling, is because the overall storage capacity has dropped in the system. So how the system works, it relies on the head, or relies on the level of the upstream reservoirs. Once those upstream reservoirs are at a sufficient level, the bulk pipelines are able to be pressurized. And when they're pressurized, they're able really to bring sufficient volume that assist in picking up that reservoir. So that is the issue, and the issue really is affecting us in the Kensington area. Of course, also there are other areas that I know bordering Ekurhuleni that are struggling around the same issue.
Yeah. Before we go to other areas, so that we are not lost in the jargon and the technicalities of distribution of water. One, are you doing something currently, and what is it that you are doing? When do you think that it would be sorted out?
Yes, we are doing something. In fact, I was on site. I left site last night at about 10 o'clock. We have teams that are working on this around the clock. We are also engaging with our bulk supply, Rainwater. This morning, our teams, including Rainwater, they'll be looking at the issue. We are also looking at the issues, the technical issues of either looking at how do we bring other issues like,
Mr. Mukwebo, we are told it's been 2 weeks. Has the team been working around the clock for 2 weeks?
So maybe let me take one step back again. As I said, the issue in the main, yes, we've been working around the clock, but the issue in the main is for us to be able to get the system at a particular level, even upstream, because the lines that supply this reservoir gets pressurized and be able to send sufficient volume when upstream the reservoirs are at a
How was it working before this? Before the cut-offs, before the shortage and everything else, the disruption, how was it working? Can we not go back to that way?
That's what we are working on, getting back to that. Yes, the unfortunate thing is that once there's a disruption, it just takes time to stabilize it. We went through this before in this particular system. So because for it to be able to be pressurized properly and be able to get to sufficient level on daily basis, we need to work also on making sure that all the other system or reservoirs upstream that supply this particular system.
That part I think we get. That part we get, good sir, with all due respect. We get that part. The people who are listening to us right now from Kensington, they would love to know, how long are they going to endure this? When can they start to expect the commencement of receiving water from their taps?
Yes. So this is an issue that under normal circumstances we should be able to be working on resolving it within 3 days or so, in terms of what we're doing. However, I must indicate this: the challenge that we have is that there is a maintenance that's coming on from the Fed on Tuesday, which that maintenance, of course, may also disrupt us in terms of what we are going to do. But I must indicate that the maintenance that's going to happen for a day or so, if it disrupts us, we should be able to get back on track in terms of making sure that we carry on systematically in building up this system.
Yeah, good. Mr. Mukwebo, you would know, as someone who also consumes water, I assume, and who depends on tap water for various other things.
Certainly.
We don't mind disruptions. I think residents know that these things happen. They just want to know that someone is working on it. And when can I expect the water to be back on? If I know that no matter what, next week, Thursday, by 12 noon, I will have water, then I can make sufficient plans around not having water for those days. I can move to my aunt's house. I can have, I can have some sort of arrangement done. So are you saying to us that by next Wednesday, there will be water in Kensington?
So the issue is that we're working on getting it right before Wednesday. We're working on getting it right before Wednesday. However,
so Wednesday is the latest.
Yes. What I'm saying to you is that on Tuesday, the 3rd, I'm sure you might have seen in our communication that the maintenance that the back supply is going to do in Palmit for about 10 hours.
Yes.
That maintenance, it's going to affect the system as well.
Okay.
So in other words, as we are working on recovering, we may have some bit of setback on Tuesday. But of course, it's a maintenance. It's a very short period maintenance. For 10
Hence,
hours,
I say latest Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah. So the issue that I'm trying to indicate is that with the water system, once there is a disruption or an impact in the progress that was made, it may take another day or two for us to be able to get back.
So Thursday afternoon.
It's not an issue that when maintenance is finished, the water
immediately.
Will be back.
No, I appreciate that. No. That I fully digest and understand very well. I'm asking, so the very latest, so that they can have plans put into place. Thursday afternoon, that's the very latest where there'll be water in Kensington.
So let me put it this way. We're working on making sure that before the maintenance starts on Tuesday, we have been able to get water in Kensington.
I hear that. I'm trying to cover you in a sense that I'm giving the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario. So worst case scenario, Thursday afternoon, Kensington gets water.
So once the maintenance happen on Tuesday, by end of next week, of course, because that system, whenever there is a maintenance, it will take another 2 or 3 days. It will be back.
Okay.
So end of next week, after maintenance, we should also be on the process of stabilizing the system. But I don't want a situation
to pinpoint.
Where
okay.
Okay.
It's okay. So the end of next week, there should be some sufficient movement. So before we leave Kensington, going to Marshalltown, let's just quickly touch on the water tankers. A lot of people are saying that there's disruption, they don't get water on time. Who's responsible for that? Why is the timetable not being adhered to, given that people are enduring quite a lot as it is?
We are responsible for it, and there is ongoing communication that happens with the ward councillors. And these issues of water tanker that we send to communities, we publicize it in various WhatsApp groups. These are the WhatsApp groups for, that are coordinated by ward council and so on. But above that, we put in social media platforms on our side. And the routes that we do in any community whenever there's a disruption, these are the routes that or places where we place the stationary tanks. This is the process that we do it in consultation with the ward councillor. And I know in the Kensington area, we've really been pushing a number of water tankers in that area. And of course...
they're saying they are not getting water. We had Katie and I think we had another lady who called in to say that they are battling to get water that side. And the tankers, and particularly the water tankers, they cannot arrive on time. The scheduling is abrupt. They don't know where to get these and so on. But let's move on quickly because I would like to touch on Marshalltown quickly. What's the problem at Marshalltown? We are told that there's water from 5 in the morning up until 7 in the morning, only for 2 hours. Then the water disappears until the next morning.
Yeah, the issue for Marshalltown, I will immediately after this call take details from a producer.
Yeah.
I believe it may be a localized area, and I'll explain why I'm saying that, which we'll really need to look at it.
Yeah.
Because where I am now and where I'm having this conversation from, I'm in Newtown. This is where our headquarters is.
Yes.
And Newtown and Marshalltown, as you know, borders each other.
Yeah.
And they are supplied from our Hector Norris pump station.
Yeah.
You know.
And you don't have that problem in the office?
Yes, we have not been having that problem throughout the whole week.
Yeah.
So it's something that we're going to follow up and
Please do.
Make sure that if there's a localized issue, we deal with it.
I truly appreciate you coming on. You could have just sat in your office and did other things. It means the world to us that you take our listeners seriously and the residents of Joburg seriously. We will fight every now and then. It doesn't mean that we are against you. It simply means that we want to be the voice of our residents and our listeners. I would urge you, please do the same again when there's a problem. Don't run away. I love your effort. I love your courage to come through. We may not agree on the answers, but I'm glad that you are here to stand tall, to say, let's see what we can do. Please do come back to us with the estimated times and with the reports that are necessary. Hopefully we'll chat again in the near future.
And thank you very much for the opportunity. We'll do so. We will come back and give feedback to the residents.
The MD of Joburg Water, Nchabeni Mukwebo. It's 9 minutes to 10 o'clock.
7:02 afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
In terms of employers, what would you advise they can do to support religious diversity and limit or completely avoid discrimination based on religious beliefs?
The best way an employer can accommodate religious beliefs is to at least go about making a quiet place for them if they need to pray, encourage socials where we're teaching each other about our religious beliefs so that everyone is then aware of why everyone does what they do. Unfortunately, we don't know what we don't know.
Faith Mashapa, legal advisor at Strategy the Labour Solutions.
7:02 afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk. Some walks are just for exercise, others for leisure. But this walk is for something greater.
It's team building.
This July, you won't just take a step, you'll take a stand. You'll walk through history. You'll walk with it. On Sunday, 27 July, the 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, returns. It's a route that winds through the heart and soul of our capital city. From the sacred grounds of Freedom Park to the powerful steps of the Union buildings. Choose the 8-kilometer for those walking strong, the 6.7 kilometer in honor of Mandela Month, or the 4-kilometer for families and first-timers. Entries are 360 Rand for adults, 200 Rand for children under 12. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, is where footsteps become footprints.
It took time to create the life you've built. Every milestone, every moment, you've earned it. Indra takes the time to understand what's priceless to you, tailoring insurance to match a life of distinction. True peace of mind comes from knowing that everything you've worked for is insured with precision. It starts with a conversation. It starts with helloindra.co.za. Indra Risk Services is an authorized financial services provider.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
011-883-0702, 7 minutes to 10 o'clock. And you can also check us out on YouTube Live on our page if you prefer to do so. Most welcome. And I'm not saying that the face will be exciting, but I'm saying the conversations will be riveting always. 011-883-0702. I asked you to send your voice notes and you did that. And some of you even sent text messages to 072-702-1702. And this one says, Thabo, I'm so grateful about my mom. At some stage, I feel she doesn't recognize me as a grown-up person with kids. By so saying, she phones me daily, every morning and night, greeting and giving me good night messages. I appreciate God that He has given me my mom. Oh, that is so sweet. Moms are the best, right? Oh my goodness me, that is just such a sweet message. This one says also for Gratitude Friday. Morning Thabo, I'm grateful for what God is doing in my life. A lot don't make sense right now, but I see change daily, and looking back, I'm definitely not where I used to be. Mentally, I'm free. Emotionally, I'm whole. And physically, I'm doing great. That's the best wealth I've ever gotten. Coming from Mamosa. Oh, that's amazing. Morning Thabo and the team at the 702 Lenders. I'm forever grateful for the gift of life and having privilege of studying. I completed my second graduation in 4 years in 2022, BCom Financial Accounting, and this past Wednesday I got my post-grad diploma, Management Accounting. What made it so special? I took my 2 daughters to witness my achievement and to inspire them to follow suit. Thanks, Zweli. Congratulations, Zweli. All the best. 5 minutes to 10 o'clock. I'd still love to hear from you. By the way, I've never received a call from Zola. Ever. Zola is a township in Soweto. I've never received a call from Mabetla. I've never received a call from Rosebank, by the way. Perhaps Clement has. But no. So people from Zola, you don't listen to 702. Is that what you're trying to tell us? Oh, I'm sure there are people in Zola listening to us. Zola, by the way, if you don't know the history of Soweto, at some point was very notorious, extremely notorious. You wouldn't just walk in and out of Zola just like that. But so it just made me think as I was asking for your issues that are taking place in your localities, where you live, what are the real issues? I'm glad that we had a call earlier on from Kensington. I think it was Diane. I'm happy that you called, Diane. You raised an issue, and as a result, it helped so many individuals with something that they've been struggling with. I'm happy that you did that, and I'm hoping that others will follow suit, because that is true citizenry, participatory citizenry, active citizenry that changes the complexion of difficulty. It's 4 minutes to 10 o'clock. Just to give you a big shout out about what's going to happen. After 10, we'll be having our Across the Desk feature, and we are analyzing the 1 year after elections, how MK Party rose to prominence, how EFF was booted to the 4th place, and how subsequent politics, post-electoral politics, have shaped South Africa differently with the GNU, its difficulties, and everything in between, including fake letters that we saw that Floyd Shivambo was kicked out from being the Secretary General. It turned out that it was fake. Maybe you know more? Let us know on 072 702 1702, 3 minutes to 10 o'clock.
Every time we're on the radio, we're not just talking.
We're turning words into actions. Actions that change communities.
Actions that make a difference.
And every time you tune into 702, you're not just listening to the radio.
You're in conversation with us.
And your voice matters. You're on a journey with us, and every step we take counts.
It's these steps that not only help us grow as individuals,
but also bring us together as a society through the good times and the bad.
Every step gets us closer to the South Africa we want to be.
So, keep walking with 702.
And let's make this a journey to remember.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
Andile here with more than just a horse betting ad. Bet on the horses at 10Bet and ride with a 20% free bet boost on your deposit. It's more than just a race. It's a 10Bet experience. Join now at 10bet.co.za. 10Bet is a licensed betting operator and supports responsible gambling. No person under the age of 18 shall be permitted to bet. Betting can be addictive. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line is 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
It's that time of the year. Sore throats, congestion, wet and dry coughs, pain and fever. For trusted relief for you and your family, ask your pharmacist to recommend a winter survival pack from the Adcock Ingram OTC range. With products like Medikil A, Expigen, Corenza Parac, Adconapamol, Dilinct Junior and more, we have you covered this winter. Remember, Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. to give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
702 and ABSA Home Loans are bringing to light the property ownership matters you want to know about. Here's what we discussed.
I would imagine rent to own means that whatever you're paying in renting is somehow contributing to ownership.
That is correct. A rent to own agreement is a hybrid agreement or a hybrid model where you basically have a lease agreement. Tenant's going to rent the property for a set period of time, and over and above the rental, there's an option fee, and that gets paid each month because then the tenant is entitled to an option to purchase the property. You're not only paying your rental, but you're also paying towards a deposit towards the property.
The Masterclass with Relebohile Maboja, brought to you by ABSA Home Loans on 702. T's and C's apply. ABSA is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider, NCR CP7.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. EWN has learned that the main suspect in the Olorato Mongale murder case was in possession of identity documents and numerous cell phones. Police killed him during a shootout this morning at an apartment